السلام عليكم، ازيكم يا شباب؟ عاملين ايه؟ الاخبار؟ كان من فتره في كذا حد بيبعت لي عن كذا تشالنج بيقابلها. اول حاجه لو هو شغال لوحده في تيم ازاي ممكن يطور نفسه. تاني حاجه لو هو راجل بقاله فتره طويله بيشتغل مانيوال وعايز يقلب يبقى سوفت وير ديفلوبمنت انجينير ان تيستنج، ممكن يعمل ده ازاي. تالت نوع من الاسئله كان بيجي لي ازاي ممكن نسافر بره مصر، او ازاي ممكن نجيب ريالوكيت اوفرز، او ايفن حتى لو ريموتلي. ايه التشالنج اللي موجوده بره مصر اصلا، حجم التيمز مختلفه قد ايه ما بين الشركات جوه مصر وشركات بره مصر. الكالتشر مختلفه عامله ازاي، يعني لما اروح لدوله بتتكلم لغه بعيده عني تماما مثلا زي المانيا مثلا بيتكلموا الماني، الدوله نفسها بتتكلم الماني، ممكن ايه التشالنجز اللي تقابلني هناك. طيب فخليني كده اشيل معاكم الانترفيو ده بقدر المستطاع، يعني استحملوا الانجليزي بتاعنا انجليزي مصري وانجليزي هندي، فاستحملونا لو سمحتوا. وانا محتاج منكم حاجتين، محتاج اول حاجه منكم انتوا تعملوا سبسكرايب لان انا محتاج اوصل يعني نوصل 1000، يعني نطلع 1000. تاني حاجه محتاجكم تعملوا لايك للفيديو لو عجبكم. تالت حاجه لو انتم محتاجين المحتوى ده عاجبكم عايزين نعمل انترفيوز مع ناس تانية كروس ذا وورلد، في ناس شغاله في هولندا، في ناس تانية شغاله في المانيا، في ناس شغاله مثلا في فرنسا. فقولوا لي وانا هحاول اعمل ده نفس القصه، واكتبوا لي نوع الاسئله اللي انتم محتاجين تسالوها ايه للناس دي، وانا هحاول اجيب ناس ونعمل معاهم الانترفيو ده ان شاء الله. ومحتاجكم تعملوا شير للفيديو ده مع الناس، وربنا ينفع بيكم ان شاء الله. اشوفكم على خير. Okay, first of all, I really appreciate that you accepted my invitation. And yeah, this is the next time we do as an interview. The first one you interviewed me, and today I'm gonna interview you. So today I would like to hear more about Sanchari. Actually, just try to introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, so my name is Sanchari. I have been working as a QA engineer for since 2012. I'm from India. Now I'm working in Berlin. But before, so I was working in. I started as a QA engineer in a company called ThoughtWorks, and they worked as a consultancy. So that gave you the opportunity to work in different different customers, different domains, different technologies. So I worked with Ruby, Java, and C# even sometimes with clients, and also worked in different locations like outside India, which kind of made me want to work in a more international kind of structure. So that is one reason why I moved. So then after that, I moved to a startup in India as well, and they were working in Python, and that's when kind of I started working in Python, and I liked working in Python because of how intuitive and how easy it was to understand and learn and stuff like that. And since then, I've been working in Python, so I am a fan of Python like you are. And one reason also, so then I applied to Berlin, the company that we worked in together, Relayer, and Relayer was also working with Python, like the QAs were working in Python, all the test infrastructure and everything is in Python. I just joined a new company this month, like it's been 2 weeks. And they are also primarily Python. They are working in a chatbot space, like AI chatbot. So there are new challenges that I'll talk about later. Yeah, so in Relayer, the company that we worked together, there was like learned a testing for integration backend, integration front ends are usually done by every company, but depending on certain domains, you have different kind of challenges. For us, that was the data part of it, like generating data. And then for you, there was like the whole Cypress and the design systems and all of that. That was also something I learned in Relayer, like passively watching you and the team. And
My pleasure.
yeah. And then so for my new company, I think something similar is also anticipated. Like we also have a lot of unknowns in terms of data, and because it's machine learning, and there was like a lot of models data you need to train the models. So that is something that I think would be new. I am not very like aware of everything yet because I'm still getting onboarded. One other part of it is I think performance testing, which we did a little bit in Relayer, but not extensively, which is also a thing that is very important in a lot of these kind of new data heavy domains that you're working with. So I guess that is one more thing I'm thinking might be a new challenge for me here. So yeah,
that's pretty cool. And yeah, because actually you have the same experience as mine. We tried to figure out which programming language could make us more comfy, and you went through it, C#, Java, Python. So tell me your expectations. What do you think when you see someone using Java, using C#, using Python, JavaScript? Is it really important to be a fan for a programming language? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like for a QA, I would say it's good to be agnostic, like to be able to work with different languages, because it's not always great to be so restrictive. You can, of course, have a preference, and when you're doing side projects and your own stuff, you can choose your favorite language. But for work, I would say it's not good to be restrictive. But again, that also depends on your level of seniority. For instance, if you're a junior or if you're a mid-level, it's good to have knowledge of everything and be flexible. But once you are going a little ahead, where you're trying to go into the direction of maybe an architect, or maybe somebody who's a kind of like a can create their own tools and things like that, then it might be important to have something that you are focusing a little bit more on. That's my personal feeling, because that's kind of the direction I would want to go in, where I am thinking of designing in test implementation for somebody, some organization, or in that case, it's important for me to be able to provide solutions that I've already used or I know I'm comfortable with, rather than, I don't know, figuring out C# again and trying to build something with C#. I never want to do that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, from my perspective, I think it's as a senior, you have to be flexible to fit with current situations, because every single time you will not have the chance to start something from scratch. So yeah, when I joined Relayer, they are using Python, but if they are using something else, I will try my best to fit. And yeah, I joined Relayer actually, and I thought you hired me because I have ability to develop something in Python. But once I joined back to 2019, after one or couple months, I joined the design team, and you know that how much they were hating robot framework. And yeah, we started something using JavaScript. So they mixed the feeling about robot framework with Selenium, with Python, and they didn't like the whole idea, and they didn't accept that we will start something using even Python and Selenium, the pure Selenium. And back to this challenge, we begged the solution is that, okay, we are a front-end developers, most of the team are front-end developers, they are mastering JavaScript, okay, let's go with JavaScript. But to be honest, I'm a fan with the modern language like JavaScript, Python, maybe Ruby, but I managed to write some blogs. I even do the interview in the company when someone the interview process and he is mastering Java, so I interviewed people with Java. But to be honest, if I sorry about that, will make the decision, it's gonna be super hard for me to no, I don't have to say this for this. This is the evil words. Yeah, if it's back to me, I will not ever start something using pure Java. I am not a fan. And yeah, but if I join a big company and they already have something written in Java, I will totally fit. But yeah, so from my perspective, seniors should be more flexible to take the decisions and to fit with the current situations. And yeah, we are talking about codes and software automations and such stuff. And since you started talking, it's all about automation, coding, performance, and such stuff. So I can see there is a lot of people in the market and they are still doing the manual job, and they are doing a very, very good job. is they delivering, is they help the company to be agile and such stuff. But yeah, from your perspective, and I know that you are in a senior level and you are running the interview. What do you think if someone applied for a job in your company and he has a very good experience related to the manual stuff, but the automation is not, it's not, let's say it's not good enough? What do you think? Will take the CV, kick it out, or how you will deal with the situation?
Right. No, so yeah, I'm doing a lot more automation now, but I started with a lot of manual heavy stuff as well, because also I was new to it and I didn't know. Automation is something I learned gradually, right? Which is kind of, a lot of people do that. So definitely manual is a huge part of it. I mean, we also have to do it, right? Because when you are doing big releases, regressions and things like that, not everything can be automated, right? So you have to
Sure.
do a lot of manual stuff, and a lot of developers are also doing a lot of manual testing, because there is not a lot of people, like the ratio to QA and the developers are very different, right? So like in the current company I'm in, there is a lot of manual heavy stuff that is being done by the developers as well. So a lot, again, when you're talking about interview, people who are interviewing, they have power than the management and people who are creating the budget, right? So in the current situation I've seen in current companies, there's a lot of focus on a person being able to do everything. And when they are hiring and when they are looking for somebody, they are asking a person, like the management is asking to hire a person who knows everything. That being said, there are a lot of positions which are like, you know, in the industry, you're only hiring automation people or only hiring manual people. You're hiring somebody who has the skills to do both a little bit. But again, you also hire different categories of people. For instance, you hire mid-level people or people who are intermediate, soon to become senior, but not senior yet, or somebody who's not junior, but a little higher than junior, things like that. And I think in that category of intermediate, you can also hire people who know the skills, who know how to test, who are doing manual, not skilled, super skilled in automation, have done automation a little bit. I mean, they won't be completely lost. What is this?
Yeah.
I've never seen this in my life. But people who have mostly worked in manual, but they know all the processes, which is also very important, right? For us, like agile, if you're working in all the agile ceremonies that you do, all the estimation and things like that. And another very important skill, I think, is, which I've realized now, is which a person who's worked in the industry will have, is just experience to work. Because that is also very important. I mean, a fresher will never have the experience that somebody who's worked a little bit in the industry will have. So that is also important for a QA, to know all of these ceremonies and processes. So I definitely think that somebody who's willing to learn is also important. So somebody who's willing to learn and has only had experience with manual mostly, but knows all the processes, knows how to test, can definitely be hired in a intermediate or a junior sort of role.
Yeah, of
And
course.
then they can eventually learn, right?
Yeah, of course. But let me clarify these questions, because actually, when I asked my audience what kind of questions do you would like the answers, to hear the answers from Sanchari, most of them said that let's talk about how we can get a job in Germany, how we can move to Europe. And yeah, I know how it was not so easy, because the competition is really high. Even when in Relayer, when we're running the interview process together, I remember that at least when we open a position, there is than 100 people will apply, and the competition is gonna be so high. So from your perspective, if someone is not in Europe and he would like to move to Europe and he would like to make the same journey we did, he would like to join an international company, what is the main topics he should work on to improve his career and to give a very good profile and pass so many interviews that he will tackle?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think for like initially I saw like a lot of people, their CVs. First of all, the CVs should not lie. Like the CVs should have things that they know, because when we look at CVs, we also cross check. So if we see, okay, this performance testing they've worked on, let's say, and we know that we've done that, and especially if we know we've done that, we will ask questions. If there is a Cypress, I worked on Cypress, I will ask questions with Cypress, right? So don't lie assuming that it's good to have a CV with a lot of things, because people will say, oh, they've worked on a lot of things, but their chances are if you're adding more things, one or two the interviewer will have worked on at least, and they will ask you questions on that. And if you cannot answer that, that's a definite bad impression. That makes a very bad impression. It recently happened with somebody I referred, and I know her, and she had a lot of things like that mentioned, and she wasn't hired, and she came back to me to ask, and I received this feedback from the interviewers that she had mentioned Docker or something like that, which she had no idea about. So yeah, that is one thing I would say. Don't lie. Just mention in your CV clearly what you have worked on. I usually try to keep my CV short and not have long essays, because it's important to mention what experience you've had, and if you've had a lot of experience, that's good to mention, but maybe a small sentence about what you've primarily focused on, so that the CVs, when you're sorting hundreds of CVs, it's easier to have small CVs. And also I think the recruiters look for certain things. So for instance, for Earlier, they look for Python, or they look for somebody who's worked in, I don't know, IoT maybe. I don't know about how they are searching, I'm just assuming. But have these kind of small things which are easy to look at and think. That's the part where the CV is concerned. The next part is in the interview. So usually a lot of times the first step is you are sent a task to do. When you're being sent the task, we don't judge. Like, we don't judge as in we don't restrict somebody to use only Python. We've gotten Ruby, we've gotten Java, we've gotten Python. We haven't gotten C#, thankfully. I would have run away. But usually, commonly Java, we get a lot of Java. And this kind of, they are usually very simple. Actually, there are two tasks. One is mostly front end, and the other is back end heavy mostly. But yeah, just use a simple, whatever experience you've had, use simple, create a simple test solution and send it. Because a lot of times I have noticed that even if we don't love the testing solution, we give them a chance if everything matches and it's logical. We give people a chance, because when you're talking to somebody, when you're interviewing, it's not just about answering the questions. It's also sometimes about confidence, or it's also sometimes about a person, how eager they are to learn and things like that. I remember one thing, Islam, in your interviews, you were very confident. People could tell that you were a senior, or you were like somebody who has worked with some amount of experience, because you were very confident in your answers, which is also important. We've had interviews where a person knew the answers but like stumbled and stuttered, and in that case, it's not a problem. We tried very hard to tell them that don't worry, you can turn off the video if you want, like we are having all video conversations nowadays. But again, if I don't know, there is a certain people, we are just people, right, interviewing, and people have biases, right? So if you don't, if you talk to somebody and if you have this feeling that you might not want to like to work with them, then that is a thing, but you can't help that. I think that's kind of personality.
Sure.
What you can avoid is just try and be calm and just answer slowly if you have to, or if you have to take a pause, just say I have to take a pause and drink some water, or switch off my video if I'm not comfortable. But that's fine completely. But be a little confident, because when you are saying your answer in a confident, then that's good. But again, we've had interviews where somebody was saying something wrong with a lot of confidence, and when you challenged them, they made you feel little. Like, for instance, like they said something, and then I said, wait, hold on, what do you mean? Like, because this can also happen. And they said, no, that can't happen. I don't know. I don't think so. You know, that kind of a thing.
Yes. Yes, I just got the feeling. Yeah.
Wait, am I an idiot? What? Like, that kind of is also not good. So if you don't know, definitely don't say that, yeah, I'm not sure. Let me get back to you. Or
Yeah, sure.
if you say something, let's say you made a mistake and you said something and the interviewer challenges you and said, wait, no, I don't think that's how it is. And yeah, of course, the interviewer doesn't know anything, but like also doesn't know a lot of things. But so if you're not confident, don't say that, no, I don't think so, you're wrong, or whatever. Just say, I'm not confident to challenge you back. I can get back to you about that. Let me look at it. We've also had people who've, you know, looked at things and we could see them reading answers out of places or Googling while you're viewing.
Yes, it happens.
Great, right? So I would say it's not just a person's skill level, it's a lot of other things like these. Just be a nice person and talk about things you know, say humbly about things you don't know and say, no, I don't know. Answer the things that you know with a lot of, give examples. If you have, if you interviewer asks you questions and if you have experience with that, just give an example to say, for instance, in my last company, this is how we did this is how we did that. It's also very important for processes when they are asking you about how do you, I don't know, estimate, or a favorite question of a lot of our interviewers where have you ever faced conflict or how did you resolve it, and things like that. Just process related questions. If you have examples or if you have these things already that you've experienced, keep those things handy and say that, sorry, for instance, this happened. That kind of, I think, helps, right?
Yeah, this is a really very good answer. I really liked the way you starting from how to write a CV, and it seems that you just hit an accident and it's like a fresh in your mind that people sometimes just tell something that is not true in the CV. But yeah, from my perspective, I think some days I interviewed people and I can see that they wrote something, but it was back to like 4 or 5 years, like as I have an experience with Java, but I did my hand dirty since a lot. But yeah, so when I write, I know Java, it doesn't mean I have remembered everything, but at least I remember the minimum, and I can say the problem. So I am totally with you that people should be very honest in CV, because say in the CV you will be questioned. If you don't know even the basics, it's gonna be very bad impression. And yeah, let's move. So if you have a chance to train someone, and I know you are a good trainer, and to move him from a specific situation to the next step, what would you like to share? What your plan? What is the goals you will set for him? And yeah, and I specifically talking about someone in a junior or mid-level, how can you guide him to be in a seniority level?
Right. So if I was working for that person, I'm assuming that I'm working with that person as well, right?
Yeah.
And it's not somebody who's I don't know what they're working on. So it has happened, right, in Relayer as well, and my previous company as well. I was also a junior who got trained to work. So yeah, I will just give an example that happened. So when in India, when I was working with my lead, who kind of helped me a lot, and he's in Berlin now, so we are friends, but he wouldn't mind. So so initially, so what I liked personally was giving somebody junior responsibility. For instance, I have had managers who've micromanaged a lot, like every task they've bossed over you and said how to do. And then I have people who trust you and want you to do stuff, right? So for instance, I did not have experience to build automation suite from scratch, or I did not know Python so much. And what helped was to let a person know that like make them shadow you a little bit while you are working on something. That's what happened to me. While they were writing a test, I got to shadow them and learn very simple things, not anything very tough, like let's say front end, a small task to do front end stuff. That kind of helped me understand what went into building a small automation suite and how to do that. And then in my free time, I use that to work with, like develop by myself a suite, and for something simple like Google and something like that. And I would say if a person I see is junior and who wants to, it also depends on what direction they want to go to. They might want to just be more of a process QA, and somebody who wants to do a little more of the process streamlining and more of the test planning and things like that. And there are people who want to focus mostly on automation and building test suites and things like that. So for everyone, I would say initially it helps to give them small tasks, to give people small tasks. If they want to do test plans, there are a lot of online, a lot of if you just look for test plans, there are a lot of examples available. You can get an example and adapt it based on your need. And another thing is, usually teams are very, like if you're working in small teams, like developers and QAs, everyone, a lot of times teams are very, if you work with them for a little bit, they want to also help you to grow. So another thing that can happen is if you find something, like let's say you have a tool and you want to go into a process related role, you want to create test plans and see a test strategy and stuff like that. So for a team, maybe you're starting to do that, you found a new tool that can help you do that. Do small demos with the team and get their feedback. Let them tell you that this will work, that won't work. Then you'll get a lot of answers and a lot of, you won't even think about those things. For instance, you are not even thinking about, you just got the tool and you want to plan to do that. But when you talk to different people, right, you know that you get a lot of answers that you've never thought of, that people ask these questions. And then you think about these things and you try to implement. So that is something that helps with process. With process, I would say as many people as you can work with, that helps. I would encourage them to get tools, create plans and processes. If they want new processes, do that, get feedback. In the previous experience, there was an intern who got out this very nice process of having a QA dashboard and things like that, which I thought was very nice. I actually learned from it, and I definitely would want to use it in my current experience if I can. So that's one thing that helps. For learning, for automation, I would say I can let them shadow me and give them small tasks, but a big thing depends on the person as also learning themselves, because they have to be curious. But what helps a lot is demoing and just getting feedback.
Yeah, this is really cool. And yeah, I think the situation in Egypt is the same as the situation in India. There is a lot of startups, and they are hiring one at maximum. Will hiring two QA engineers and social stuff, and they don't have the chance to be in the same team with a senior or the mentor. How can you advise these people? They mentors, they don't have people to gain them. Yeah, and they are alone in this fighting, and you know how pressure they're gonna be in this situation. So, how they can go further alone?
Right. It is also similar to what I said, that what they want to focus on. Do they want to they want to solve the immediate challenges that they are facing right now, like in terms of process or in terms of automation? What kind of skill are they looking for? If they're looking for code related and what tools related and things like that, what they can do is join meetups and listen to conferences and talks and stuff, because a lot of this is also available. There are free things also. It's not just that. Like there are Ministry of Testing and things like that. They do monthly or weekly,
Podcast.
like sessions, yeah, podcasts and sessions, and you can learn a lot of things from there. For instance, like there are a lot of parts of visual testing and things like that, tools people have tried that they want to demo and things like that. That is one part you can do by yourself, that if join meetups, join groups, or talk to people. Like even if you join meetups, right, and if you have this collective, for instance, Ministry of Testing has a blog site, website and things like that, where you can post your questions. If you have some questions that you don't know who can answer, and people will answer those questions and help you. There are a lot of QAs, right, who've got different experiences or may have faced the same things. So it's not just don't think of yourself as one single part. You know that there are a lot of people around the world who are facing similar things. So try to join groups where you can get these kind of answers. Just recently, I saw, like today itself, I saw on LinkedIn, somebody posted there's a testing automation group in LinkedIn. Somebody posted something simple like finding an XPath, and she got an answer. Somebody replied saying, yeah, you cannot do this or you cannot do that. So get into these kind of groups where you can get answers from. If it's process related, then gets a little harder, because then it's very singular to you. You can of course ask questions, but I would say in your team, then you will have to ask help from product owner or your product manager, or if you have access to an agile coach, or if you have a developer that you know who's going to help you.
I'm not pretty sure if there is a lot of agile coaches here in Egypt. I think this is some of benefits that we got when we worked in European agile coaches.
But they help, right? They solve questions.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
At least they are managing the meeting in a very good way, and at least you as a team lead or a senior, you don't have to cut off the conversation between one of your colleagues, because it doesn't work. They will do that for us, and they write the reports, and they are doing a great job. But yeah, to be honest, it's so hard to find agile coaches I think in a big company, in a big names, because we already have a big names, but it's not as the case in
same. In India also same. So I think just joining communities, because then you'll get your answers.
Yeah, sure. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. And back to the manual testing. I'm pretty sure that you are familiar with the certificates, ISTQB, ISTQB, and such stuff. And this is a good entry for people to know the industry and such stuff. What do you think about that?
So I don't have any of these certifications.
Plus one.
What?
Yeah, me too.
Also because I wouldn't say it, so I cannot say that, oh, I don't have it, so it's bullshit. Yeah, no, that's not right. I had different opportunities, right? Because I was studying engineering, so I got into in tech field. It was easier in India to get into tech field if you have the degree and things like that. A lot of people come in with other experiences. They don't have the degree, but they want to move to a tech industry, right? In that case, these certifications help, because they give you that credibility that you know something of these things. Okay. And there are companies who look for it. In Germany, I don't know much about how recruiters hunt for people. So I don't know if these things matter. But in regions, in some countries, I'm sure it matters, right? Like if you have these certifications, it helps. There are other certifications I know which definitely help. For instance, if you are saying that you know infra-related stuff, like if you've done, Kubernetes or something like that, and you have a certification to prove it, then that helps.
Yeah, sure.
This is right,
but a different thing. Yeah.
But then if you have, I think if you have the means to do it, and if you want to do it, then do it. Why not?
Yeah, sure.
Have an extra credibility. But for me, I have never been asked if that is available. That is something I have.
Okay, I will tell you the situation that I would like to hear your opinion about, because some people manage to say that if you are in entry level and you didn't get a job and you just get a ISTQB Foundation certificate, you instantly will get a job, or will make your chance higher to get this certificate. And I can see that fresh people are struggling getting this certificate, and they pay more attention to get it done. And yeah, do you think this advice is good advice? This is biased advice? What do you think?
I would say where, if you are in Egypt or India and if you want to move to Germany and you're entry level, I don't think it matters if you have the certification. But depends on the country, right? I don't think in India also it matters if you have the certifications and if you're trying to join the entry level. I don't know about Egypt, but yeah, I don't think it matters. For instance, let's say even if you have the certifications, right? Your CV, if you don't have some of these catchphrases that even for entry level they are looking for instance, experience with manual testing, or I have some kind of internship that I've done with manual testing, then I don't see how the certification will help.
Yeah. So your advice is that it's nice to have, but people should pay more attention for software itself, development.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you want an entry level job, if you have the time, you can do an internship, get something which is necessarily not paid. Good if it's paid, but if it's not paid also, but it gives you that credibility that you have worked somewhere where you've done manual testing, or you know some of these terms and catchphrases that people talk about, like agile and things like that.
Okay, so let's talk about the differences between your experience in India and your experience in Germany. Yeah, tell me about that. What is the differences? What did you get from your journey to the allocation to Germany and those?
Okay, I mean, if you are talking about how easy it was for me to start in India and here, that is different because I cannot compare. I've already had experience when I applied here, and I think some of that helps. I have learned from people that if they are completely junior and if they are looking for an entry job in Germany, it's a little bit harder than if you have experience and then you want to move. It's a little easier that way. But I don't quote me on that. I don't know. I might be wrong. So the main difference, of course, is that in India, the company that I was with, we were working for international clients, but we were not international. Like the people working were the same, like from India. And so when I moved here, there was a little bit of difference in terms of how people reacted to certain things. For instance, seniority in India, if you are a senior, you can tell people are a little scared of them, like they are like the bosses in technology and things like that. It's not the same in Germany. People are much more free to ask questions, even if they are seniors. There's like a little more flatter organization. I mean, I've also not worked in big companies, so I'm not talking about big companies. I'm talking about mid-level companies and mostly startups and places. They are reachable. So even if they are seniors or CEOs or whatever, you can reach out and talk to them. That's one big difference amongst people. That hierarchy levels are a little low in Germany than they are in India. In terms of technology, I don't think there's been a lot of difference. Like I learned a lot in India, I learned a lot here as well. In terms of testing, different kinds of testing was also something that I was much junior or mid-level when I was in India. So that is something that I heard, but I never explored. That is something that I hear as well. So in terms of, I think, just core technology and way of working, it's similar because I also worked in Agile and things like that. In terms of people, it's a little different.
Yeah.
In my experience.
Yeah, sure.
What about you, Swim?
Yeah, it's almost the same because actually the sizing of the company is totally different.
Right.
So we don't have a lot of companies here in Egypt that has more than 500 engineers. This is common here. So even the size of the team is the same. And actually, when I moved to Berlin, I found that there is a lot of QA engineers in Berlin, in Katowice. So we have a lot of offices, we have a lot of minds. Even we are trying to solve problems in different mindset. It's not the case. It's so hard to find this kind of diversity in Egypt. So the main thing is that when you are working with smart people and there is a lot of people, you have ability to learn faster. And instead of you are working alone, you don't have this option. So you are fighting the situation. And yeah, I am pretty sure that the people with a good with certain goals, they will fight till they ability to move, or even they can draw their lifestyle. And yeah, to be honest, the reallocation to Berlin is something it's good but it's not so good, you know that. But yeah, there is a different kind of challenges there, because the software is more complex, the size of the company, stuff, a lot of pressure, a lot of competitions. And talking about competitions, yeah, let's return back to the interview. Some people just get frustrated when they just receive the regression email.
What do you mean? I don't understand. Regression email?
Sorry, the rejection email. Sorry about rejection email. Yeah.
No, I mean, when I applied to Berlin, I think I applied to, I don't know, I just applied to a lot of companies, and of course I got rejected. I got like 5 acceptance out of, I don't know, 75 maybe. But yeah, it's not a problem. So, okay, funny story. I got rejected by a company in Berlin immediately. Like I applied and I immediately got rejected. And I knew a person, yeah, immediately got the email saying, no, you're not, we are not looking for somebody or whatever. And I had a colleague who worked in that company. He was a senior, much senior, and I had also referred my CV to him, but I also applied at the same time. And then he forwarded my CV, and the recruiter gave me a call on my phone.
Okay.
The same case that rejected me.
Yes.
So rejection emails don't matter. You know, the rejection emails does not mean that you are not capable. Rejection emails are just companies handling too many people, just handling, sorting it out, removing people, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a luck thing, I guess. So it doesn't matter, rejection. If you have if you know somebody, definitely ask them to refer your CV. A lot of people do that, which might not be great, but I'll still tell you that, and people know that if you are really interested in a company, if you know somebody who's from your country or places who've been there, you can reach out to them in LinkedIn and ask them if they will be willing to do that. Yeah, sure. Just don't expect that they will do that. They can also say no, because a lot of people get a lot of emails asking for, like a lot of messages asking for that. But you can definitely reach out and ask them if they want to refer you. That is an easier way to get into a company. You can avoid rejection emails directly.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, let's go to the technical stuff. So we talked about the language and we said that it doesn't matter. We prefer somehow Python, but yeah, as in my case, I had to work with JavaScript. But yeah, talking about the frameworks, there is dozens of frameworks that can do the job. And actually, it's a little bit challenging, because every single company we will apply, they will have their own stack, and somehow they need you to fit with this stack. Like, we are using Selenium, X using Cypress, Y using Playwright, someone using something from another university, and yeah, they ask you to fit in these situations, and this is a lot. What do you think? Let's take a little bit by bit. Let's start talking about end-to-end testing. What do you think? What is the solid situation that we can build up on? Yeah.
Are you asking that what to do if something is already there? Like
no. Yeah, let me rephrase my question. So there is a lot of choices. How you will choose your suitable framework to just start learning it, like Selenium, Cypress, Playwright, XYZ, something, yeah.
But if you're learning to get a job faster, if you're learning just to add to your skill?
We can answer both questions. Actually, this is a really good point, because yeah, some people just doing something they don't like and they want to move on. So they will study something for the market. And some other people are, like my case, when I jumped in relay and I found that there is a robot. Let we talk about the robot later on. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me.
Okay, so robot is an example. I did not know robot. It's something I fit into because it was there in the company, and I had to do it because it was there. And sometimes you have to do that, and you cannot immediately change things because also lack of people. This is a big problem in our industry, right? The amount of work and the number of QAs in a team are very different. So if you start with a company and if you're joining the company, they already have something in place, it's faster to add to it than create something from scratch. You can create something from scratch when there are 5 of you, but if there's just 1 of you, it's easier to build onto it. That's something that happened, until you joined and we had some more people, and then people could think about refactoring stuff. Until then,
yes, I did that.
Right? Yeah, because then we had people and then we were like, fine, we can do this. But before that, we just couldn't. We were just had too many things to do. If you are learning something to get a job, it's better to have industry standard things like Selenium, which is kind of industry standard. Cypress is up and coming. If you're interested in JavaScript, that's something that is good to learn. A lot of new companies or startups, like that if you know it, because they are doing things like that. For instance, I recently in my current company, they are using not Cypress, Python with Percy to do screenshots and things like that.
You're gonna pay a lot. You're gonna pay a lot. The bill will gonna be high.
I saw it and I was like, oh no, that is something I have to again fit into.
Yes.
But, I don't know. Like, let's see. That is also something I want to ask them to improve on, and they are open to it.
Yeah, sure.
So sometimes you join a company and they are open to it, to changing, and you can do that. Change it according to what you think is better or what is happening outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, you cannot always get that right. Sometimes you just have to fit in.
And yeah, sometimes, like I had the situation when I joined Relayer, I got you gave me I just remember that the first task was really simple. When you asked me just to make my hand dirty and to figure out the test suite and work through it, and you gave me a very simple task, and I said that I will do it in like 30 minutes, just clicking a button, something like that. And yeah, I just opened the test suite. It's a robot. I even don't know how to debug it. It doesn't stop. I put the breakpoint, but it doesn't stop. So yeah, I think I got frustrated in like I cannot deliver the task. It takes 2 days, and yeah, this is really hard. The architecture is really hard, and yeah, we have to do something like that. And the first thing is that okay, but people is they are feeling okay about that. No one complain, and I think all people are happy, but not me. So I remember back to this time, I went to every single one in the team and I asked them, and I found that all people didn't like Cypress, didn't like robot, even the front end guys that they managed to write some test cases. So yeah, if you return it back to this times that everyone in the team, we are doing the job, we are happy, we are delivering, we already have the ability to build on what we already have. But yeah, it's complex. The maintainable is hard. People don't like it, especially the contributors from outside teams. Because yeah, from time to time, developers should help us because we don't have enough resources to deliver. So what do you think? Is it better in this situation to just try to fix the complexity, refactoring something, or just to keep it at it works, just don't play with it? What do you think?
That's a very good question. Actually, I would still say that in my past experiences, I want to change. I have come into a place where I've seen the things I was getting frustrated and it wasn't working, but there was 3 of us.
Yes.
And I mean, I could take part of the task, but the test suite was very big and I needed more help, and the other two people were not willing to spend time on it. In that case, the easiest solution was to try to reduce the complexity and stay with it until you find time or you find people to start working on it. Because you cannot take the whole thing by yourself and start changing things, right? Also not good for the team in general. You can't do that. You're working with a team, right? But if you are fortunate enough to be in a position where you see that you're frustrated and you want to do something, you know, a solution, and then you talk to the people and they are like, yes, we are frustrated too. Thank you for saying this. Maybe we can try it. That's a very good situation all of us want to be in. In that case, definitely go ahead and change it or
Sure.
provide your
The life about you see. Yeah, this is a really good answer. And yeah, I don't know what we should talk about anymore, but yeah, because actually you already answered the most of my questions that came to my mind. And yeah, sometimes I would like to hear from you. It's an open discussion. Just tell me whatever you prepared for this interview, because actually I answered a lot of things, and we almost hitting 1 hour. So I am pretty sure that you have something to say. Maybe I didn't answer about, so feel free to share it with me.
I actually don't have a lot of questions because I thought it was just a general chit chat and, you know, like just to understand experiences. And I had a feeling that because I spoke to you before that you wanted to also give some insights to people who want to move, what kind of experience they need and things like that from some other country and something like that. So yeah, basically I did not have a lot of questions around that. I think what I was thinking was to help people to definitely want to move to wherever they want to, because it's not also great to, you know, if you are in a situation where you know that you have the skills that will work with any international setup and you want to get that experience, then definitely. But another thing is that moving to another country has a lot of things like Islam also touched upon. It's very difficult, not just work wise. There's a lot of things also that you should consider, because I have had people and friends who've moved and then they had to move back or move some other place because they could not fit in. You have to understand, you have to fit into the culture, you have to fit into the language, you have to fit into your colleagues' culture also. So there are a lot of other things like that also there's a lot of bureaucracy when it comes to Germany, right? A lot of filling forms, a lot of this process, that process,
a lot of letters,
this visa, a lot of things, right? Getting apartments, language. Oof, language is a huge deal.
Yeah, right? So we're still struggling in what? A1 or what?
I am in B1. I am okay.
This is really nice.
My comfort level, I said that I can escape out of a situation. I will not die.
Yeah.
So if I am in a situation, I can talk German and get out of it. You know.
Yeah, this is really good for you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of these things also you should consider.
Yeah, sure. I really like this interview. It was really nice to talk to you, and you answered a lot of questions, and I really like your soul, and you know that. I really like that too, how you are thinking about things and how you are driving your messages. I really appreciate your time. Yeah, thanks very much for your time, Sanchari. And yeah, I will share your contact with people, so maybe they gonna hit you with questions. Yeah, do me a favor and answer these questions, of course. And yeah, I really appreciate your time, Sanchari. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I really liked it as well. And good luck with the YouTube channel. It was I think you're doing a very good job.
Yeah, thanks.